The number 33 is quickly approaching for me, and my name is Natalie Harris. Our son Peter is 7 years old, and my spouse Adam is 3 years my senior. We all call this house our home. We are here alone, the three of us. My spouse and I are planning to attend a friend's wedding today. I still consider them friends, even though we just know each other by face. They resemble Adam's companions more closely. The reception is going to be hosted at this incredibly luxurious 5-star hotel. It's unbelievable. I stepped into the loo as Adam approached people he knew. On my way back to the wedding, someone said, "Oh, look at that defective person, in a really nasty way. Why did they choose that time to turn up?" I inquired, "What? Who are they referring to?" "Excuse me," I inquired. Everyone around me was clearly yelling obscenities at me, and it sounded like they were trying to get my attention. It was clearly offensive. It wasn't just small talk. Nonetheless, no one used my name. Their rudeness was too much for me to bear, so I flawed. It was as if someone had suddenly yelled, "Hey, ugly, are you too stupid to hear me?" Unaware of it, I persisted in walking. Even though my name isn't ugly, I still wouldn't let them treat me that way. Following me was the sound of rapid footfalls. Before I could process what was occurring, I felt a stinging grip on my arm. "Hold on a second, I'm having a conversation with you," an irritated woman exclaimed. Taking a quick look at her, I pulled my arm back. She fumbled backward with a dramatic air. A second woman came racing over to offer her help, but she gave me the evil eye the whole time. "Is something wrong, Lauren? For what reason are you acting so aggressively?" she asked while staring me down. "Of course, tell me what's going on. Exclaim my name," I asked, my thoughts all over the place. "A sharp, who am I?" was her rapid response. Surely we're past this point, I thought. Oh, how rude. In reaction to my inquiry, she arched her eyebrows as if in shock. "What on earth? Please tell me what you mean. How dare you act like this when all you have is a high school diploma? Allow me to refresh your memory in case you've been confused. Tell you what, I'm your sister, Lauren. Does the name sound familiar? This woman is our mother. Can you believe you've completely cut ties with your own mom?" I nodded in agreement after giving it some consideration. I may have encountered someone with that name in the past, but I opted not to have a significant discussion with them. By the time I replied, they were already in a rage. 3 guys sprinted over in an instant. This is beyond me. The yelling could be made out from that direction. "Laura, have you not yet been adequately ready? What you typically wear has not altered." She was informed by one of them, who she called Dad, that she had to change for the wedding. This suspicious individual, managed to sneak into our wedding. Lauren yelled out to me while gesturing towards me. "We must rescue her immediately." In response, the 3 men each went their own separate ways. From the one she called Dad, following her wide eyes, I got an expression of blatant displeasure. As he stood there frozen in shock, the second man, Noah, became pale. "Why is Natalie here on such a happy day?" Noah asked, his voice quivering. She inadvertently slipped in. "I can't handle it. Protect me, please. Please be patient. Use caution when you speak." Hastily speaking, Noah's face stayed pale. "This person is." The man known as Dad agreed with Lauren, but Noah tried to intervene nevertheless. In a low voice, I said, "You really know nothing," but no one listened. Adam appeared out of nowhere. "Natalie, look at yourself in the mirror. Trying to locate you has been my mission." There was a lot of focus on him. My expression softened into an apology as I continued. On my way back, I got caught up with some strange people. After that, I got closer to Adam. As he quickly assessed the situation, he grasped it completely. Lauren changed her face when she saw me standing next to Adam. She gave me a furious look. Her parents clearly still didn't understand what was happening and were confused. Initially, Noah broke the pause, his embarrassment plainly visible. Mr. Harris, I apologize. My wife was the target of a derogatory remark. My heart goes out to your wife as well. Please, Lauren, you should also apologize, Noah observed. Why should I confess? Lauren answered by once more pointing at me. She is the one that should be regretful. This impolite person cut off our happy event. She has brought dishonor upon our family. I'm not sure how she got here. Long ago, she ought to have been cut out of our lives. Wait, family. Noah seemed astonished as he turned to look across at Lauren and me. At that same instant, the three known as Dad and Mom intervened. We sincerely regret, Noah. Our oldest daughter is a tremendous mess. Bringing her up at all feels embarrassing. We have been good in keeping secrets all through. 10 years ago, we hauled her from the house under force. She got the notion that Lauren was getting married from what? She arrived here without an invitation. What is her desired? Isn't her aim to undermine the wedding? The mother continued. Actually, Noah, she is not that smart. She had finished high school, but she couldn't get into a college. She then was a burden, performed odd jobs, and wasted her time at home. She sounded to be a parasite. She should be appreciative of our constant assistance over her high school years. Why was she breaking into the wedding? Their statements meant nothing to me since I cut ties with them long ago, independent of their appalling treatment of me. These people were my family on paper, but in fact my parents have treated my younger sister, 7 years my junior, far more kindly and have totally ignored me for as long as I can remember. My paternal ancestors worked as doctors for many years, and our house functioned as a clinic. My mother worked there as a nurse. Though from the outside looking in, our house seemed to have all we could have possibly wanted. It was toxic. I remember working very hard as a young child to win over my parents to me, but I gave up since I didn't know why they were so biased towards my sister. She was beautiful. I was not. Though it may seem strange, I was clever and performed well in school. Thus, I focused myself on my academics in order to leave home as soon as possible. When I was younger, I considered my contribution to the family as limited that of the imperfect older sister. I will not let you enroll at college. Your natural defects would make you never accepted. Soon after you graduate from high school, land a job so you may help your family and yourself. You should be appreciative that we got the opportunity to raise you even if you are ugly. You must pay for it. We will investigate Lauren's education expenses, but there is absolutely no money for you. Even if you find employment, it will be meager in comparison to the life you will lead helping us. My parents told me of this during my last year in high school. I still have recordings of that conversation and all the others where they behaved irrationally or verbally abused me. Like our parents, my sister Lauren was also pretty nasty to me. Often mocking me, I'm going to become a doctor and take over Dad's job, she would say. My older sister cannot accomplish it, hence I will make sure to work hard enough going forward to help us both. Oh, how amazing. One should be smart to see her mistakes. And you should not worry, darling Lauren. Here we are going to support you exactly 100%. You are our pride, not like your sister. They would keep on these kinds of conversations even when I was standing right there, like a bystander at a bad show. For almost 4 years following high school graduation, I worked several part-time jobs. Their treatment of me as a burden had no effect on my staying at home. They insisted I remain so they could profit from me any time they so pleased. Still, I silently reserved an apartment. We won't forgive you if you do this, or we won't allow that. My family would often warn me, yet I didn't realize I could do what I wanted without their permission until I became 16. There were challenges, such needing a guarantor for some things, but I overcome them. They wouldn't be able to ask me for a lot of money, hence I deliberately understated the income from my part-time work. I started investing little by bit as I saved. Lauren stated I was distracting her as she studied for the high school admission tests, so she kicked me from the house. Though I understood my parents were concerned I could run back to them, I saw it as my chance to start off on my own. That the daughter they thought was incapable of returning ever turned up astounds my parents. Eventually, though, they ceased showing concern. Having Lauren was plenty for my parents. 10 years have gone by now. I happened to hear a guy called Noah and Lauren arguing angrily. Today they formally were husband and wife. By then I had given up on this family, hence even though the invitation included my sister's name, I gave it no regard. Share with me the reason you are supporting her. She seems dubious, as I have been noting. Her just presence destroys the mood. Send her away. Please, Lauren said with great conviction. I have asked these folks several times, Noah said. You even checked the invites twice, right alongside me. Have you remembered? Being invited guests, you were supposed to show sorrow for your earlier comments. Unbelievably, this argument started shortly before their wedding. My dad asked, Wait, isn't he the son of the head of Harris General Hospitals? With a shock, his countenance changing one of surprise to mine. My mother was equally surprised. General Hospital, Harris, the known one. Lauren gasped, He's the son of the head doctor. Noah grinned and introduced himself when they were fixed on one another. It's great pleasure to at last meet. This is Natalie, my spouse. I go by Adam Harris. Adam is ready to continue the medical tradition of his well-known parents, who have ran a thriving hospital for many years. Hearing this stunned my folks. Noah yelled right after that, It's amazing, but the wife of Dr. Harris is my sister. It is quite accidental. We are therefore formally linked now. Noah said he was sorry, clearly amazed. Dr. Harris, I apologize if my son has caused any disturbance. He was about to keep on when I stopped him. Noah is my sister's boyfriend and a doctor employed in a university hospital. I visited my sick son just lately, but that is all. Noah seems to have strong respect for Adam and to have many relationships with doctors. Noah then wanted to know our emotional situation. My diagnosis points to him starting therapy right away. He should be brought to my hospital so we may look over him and perhaps admit him. Though Noah's kind offer, I answered, Actually, we decided to get a second opinion from another doctor. Ensuring is quite important. Noah looked surprised by my response. Although I felt he was treating my son differently from other cases, the idea of my child being seen as nothing more than a cash cow made me uncomfortable. A sarcastic laugh echoed across the room as I gracefully turned down his offer. Why are you acting in such manner? It's trying to make up for the fact that you just finished high school by marrying a doctor. You really think that living with an heir to a famous hospital will improve you? Not one thing has changed with you. Your knowledge is out of current, and you still struggle with difficult concepts. Are you actually a parent? A mother you are to that small child is amazing. Lauren criticized. Lauren, could you kindly stop? We are like a clan. Your comments raise the issue of why. Noah tried to comfort her, but Lauren shot him a cold gaze, unflinching in her faith. Adam then answered. His voice revealed his hesitation as he asked Natalie, Are these people really your family? No, came my reply. They no longer fit the definition of family. A real family wouldn't stop feeding you or punish you haphazardly for making a little mess. They would only give my sister fancy things, so I would have to make do with the worn-out stuff they picked from a skip while still mocking me. They would refuse to let me soak my textbooks in water, therefore damaging them, or dispose of my school supplies, claiming I am not intelligent enough to need them. A true family wouldn't punish you by removing your clothes in the winter for rejecting to lend your sister a book or by confining you to a hot shed in the summer, I said. They would never tell you straightforward that they expect you to work for them forever or covertly sell your belongings. Others in town began to suspect mistreatment when word of how harshly the clinic treated us leaked out. It should not be shocking since nobody brings their children to the doctor these days. That nobody brought up it while we were young is astonishing. Right now, their firm is insolvent and they have no idea why. Noah seemed startled as I softly told him about the terrible events from my life. When my parents heard about the financial problems of the clinic, they were equally surprised as I was. My in-laws discovered this information after looking into it since I left. They felt horrible about what I went through. Adam felt the same way and had looked at my parents' medical office, maybe in payback. "Stop it!" Lauren cut in with a furious cry. "Tell the truth, please. Neither of us did anything towards that. You have failed, hence you are to blame." "Noah, I do not believe her." The moment has sadly passed. Noah thought of her contemptuously. I told myself then, none of this would have happened if she had simply ignored me and left. Still, Noah finally talked out. "Actually, it's you that's lying." "What?" Disguising what precisely, Lauren said, "I can't believe it. Mrs. Harris at most holds a high school diploma." Noah updated us on her background. She graduated from college, is a successful entrepreneur, and runs a business providing meals to hospitals like ours. "Chief officer." Her sister gasped as she looked at me in shock. They surprised me as much as I did. "Put your dishonesty behind you. Her schooling finishes at high school." Accusing her, my mother said she had surreptitiously attended college. Level-headed, I answered, "Yes, I did attend college." I had no need to tell strangers who aren't my family. I was already an adult. "Tell me about it, please. In what manner are you meant to treat your parents?" "You never got our permission to start college." My dad screamed, "Hey, would I need your permission?" I could clearly see their rage as I answered softly. Having worked several jobs after high school, I saved a decent sum of money. I set that money towards my college degree since I still had much to learn and achieve. Living alone, I proved capable of doing anything I set my mind to. While still a student, I started my business. That same time, my spouse and I got together. Think about that, and it makes me very emotional. My pale-faced sister murmured something to herself simultaneously. For me, this is incredible. To me, she has always seemed as the passive, unmotivated sibling. She would be totally useless after she was kicked out. But after graduating from college, she married the heir to a sizable hospital and became the chief executive officer. For what purpose? I used to think I would be the one who would succeed. Her accomplishment exceeds mine. What then makes sense? She strikes me as happy, but why? Why indeed? I asked in reply. It could be because I kept on working and refused to stop no matter how unfair the treatment I got. I guess some luck also had a part. Before I started to spill the beans, I sent my sister a hard glance. "I heard, by the way, you dropped out of middle school. Share with me the truth." This finding surprised my dad, Noah, and myself all around. "What? Who left middle school?" My sister shot back. "What on earth are you talking about?" Though I respect her attempt to ignore it, I continued. "This came from someone who has always been pleasant to us, a distant cousin. I left home thinking you could easily land into a top institution without working at all. You arrived unprepared and scribbled virtually nothing, therefore you expectedly failed the exam. After that, you started acting crazily at home and finally withdrew from society. Once our parents suggested Noah as a possible partner, they brought you back into society." My sister and dad went pale, and Noah's expression grew more austere as I was speaking. The material came from a long-lost relative of Dad's who is known for exacting detail gathering. Though we only met each other a few times when I was a child, he looked out for me and even guaranteed my payments. "That is untrue. What on earth are you referring to?" she objected, my sister, quaving. Still, I said, "You know what? Isn't it entirely ridiculous that you are a medical administrator? Nothing is as it seems. You are just doing menial tasks without any real responsibility. You are not qualified. One could sense some professional decency here. Kindly finish it. "That is untrue," she cried. "Every word of it is untrue." "Perhaps," I answered coolly, under control. "I just heard a rumor. You have to decide whether or not you want it." My sister wasted no time looking to Noah and studying his expression. His attitude revealed his doubt, bewilderment, and disappointment. "Lauren, your credentials, degree from a well-known women's college, and job at the family hospital really impressed us. Had I fallen for deception? It is dishonest to plagiarize your educational qualifications. You want to fool me," Noah directly asked her for her view. "Noah, I do not think you ought to believe her. Your husband is you. Please trust me," she said. "Then name even one professor from the university you claim to have graduated from," he said. Too ashamed, my sister stayed silent. "That's not a priority right now," she murmured. "Then what?" "I suggest we speak with an academic from the institution you claim to have visited." Driven to find the truth, Noah proposed that they look for a family friend familiar with us. Noah answered with composure as he picked up his phone. "All right, come on." She begged Noah not to do it, seeming frantic. "You leave me, that's plenty." Lauren grabbed Noah's phone out of nowhere and tosses it on the ground. "You need not check. Just believe me," she cried. Driven by rage, she repeatedly stamped on the phone with her high heels, breaking it. With her terribly hostile look, she scared Noah and everyone else. Her anger was unquenchable despite the greatest of efforts by her parents. Other visitors and staff members observed the scenario and gathered around, clearly troubled. The venue turned into a total shambles with the sudden outburst. I could almost be watching everything happen from the sidelines. My emotions towards my sister and parents had totally disappeared. My sons and husband's only relatives right now were me. Should we leave for home? I told Adam I thought we had done everything we could have. With a note of surprise, he asked, "Are we leaving already, Natalie?" Calmly, I grinned. "Okay, I believe we are free to depart. We ought to most sure grab a slice of cake from the on-site bakery of the hotel. There seems to be one that has lately been all the rage." Adam then nodded and grinned. "That makes a logical recommendation. Why not we stop on our way home to grab a cake?" Laughing lifted us as we left the arena. Later on, I discovered that Noah was the object of a lawsuit claiming he gave erroneous diagnosis and overcharged people. After that, since they were in terrible financial shape, my ex-parents tried to get in touch to ask for help. Not sure how to get to me, they visited the hospital where Adam works in hopes of seeing us. Her daughter-in-law is the heir to the hospital estate. Our kid is that girl. We had to see her right now. We can fix this by getting the head of the hospital's son contacted. She has to help us. We are quite close. During the reception, they said, since we brought her up, it's only right that she backs us, creating such a stir. Though someone else did, it was not Adam or I. That was my in-laws, not quite right. Ask them, "What's your connection to our daughter?" Clearly uncomfortable, my parents hurried out of the hospital. Many more efforts at outreach follow, but they never get around to addressing their personal problems. Their only option was to close their plant at last. When I found out my parents' hospital was closing, my response lacked much feeling. Conversely, I felt relieved as if they were at last being paid for what they had done. It was, for me, a quite energizing event. Later on, I learned about Lauren and Noah's divorce. Their marriage had lasted for such a brief period, and I couldn't understand. I can only imagine how their relationship sank following Noah's legal problems and eventual hospital termination. Lauren made bad decisions even though she seemed hell-bent on surpassing me and discovering more happiness. Her first error was believing it would improve her position and having an adulterous affair with an older married doctor who was more than her. But when the doctor's wife sought atonement once the affair came to light, it became a serious issue. Lauren begged our parents for help, but they turned her down, saying she embarrassed the family. She struggled greatly at home after failing the high school admission tests, but I have no idea what happened to her thereafter. She found herself working in dubious surroundings after facing many issues affecting her health and finally making her homeless. Hearing these stories made me lose all interest in her. Though they are approaching retirement age, my parents' generation is struggling to find employment in the healthcare sector. Their prior treatment of me and others has earned them a bad reputation, hence no hospital will employ them. These people are only a part of my past. I try not to fix on them anymore. About my child, I'm glad to say he no longer needs hospitalization after an assessment at another medical center. His condition has significantly improved with the right medication. I will not stop working to keep the people I love safe now.